It's Lois from Specialist Services team here, just to give you a quick reminder video on the GCPLA and STOMP. So first, I'm going to have a look at where to find it. I'm going to send you some links, but if you lose it, it's in Operations KPIs that you've all got access to, and then when you open that up, you can go to the folder GCPLA and STOMP, and then you'll find in here all of your individual services. Okay, alright, so just while we're here, just to quickly point out, on your Citrix desktop, which this is, you'll see here SeeAbility's policies, okay, which is a shortcut folder. If you want to drag and drop that here into your favourites, you'll see I have also done that, and you can access your SeeAbility's policy stuff here, and you can say, for example, you want to check out the STOMP stuff. You just type in STOMP and it will start to search straight away, and here you've got your STOMP stuff available to you there. Backspace where you don't, if you don't want it, just get rid of that to go back to all the policies. Much better than public folders because you can actually use the search engine. Okay, so Operations KPIs for us, GCPLA and STOMP data, and there are all the files. Okay, so let's get rid of that. Right, assume we've just opened that. I'm going to minimise that, and you've opened up your individual spreadsheet. So let's just maximise that so that you get the full screen. So here we have the GCPLA and STOMP, and we're just taking an example that's blank. You've got tabs along the bottom here. Each tab represents a person that you're going to report on, and you're going to put their unique identification code here. You click in it once and you type it in. So let's say it's Bristol Support Services 1 and the code is 001. Oops. And you're going to take that from the information that you've already been given. Oops. Okay, so then you're going to go through and just put the age range, the gender, visual impairment, yes or no, a number of support contracted hours. Now this is important to remember. What you're going to do here is you're going to calculate your shared hours by adding them all up, the night staff, the day staff, the manager, the deputy, and you're going to divide that equally by the amount of people in your service, and then you're going to add on any 1-to-1 or 2-to-1 hours that are specific to that person. And then you're going to describe the condition the person is best described by. So you click the drop down arrow and you've got all of these options to choose from. Just choose one, the one that fits best. If on your computer that comes up tiny, here in the bottom right hand corner you've got a plus button. If you keep pressing it, it will get bigger and bigger and bigger, okay, and smaller so that you can see it easily. Alright, now before we go on, this is a 6-monthly outcome survey. This means the survey takes place every 6 months. It does not mean that you're reporting about the last 6 months only, okay? You're reporting about the person's life as far as you are aware, because as we go down here and we look in the GCPLA part, you've got the options never, less than every 3 months, at least every 3 months, monthly or more frequently, weekly or more frequently, daily or more frequently, or unknown as independent. Okay, so thinking about the frequencies, if a person went on a bus, a public bus, by the definitions that are here, what does bus say here then? Is a public bus. Here we go, public transport, to travel by bus, train, taxi, ferry or flight. So if we assume that the person goes on the bus once a year when they go on holiday, then they will be going less than every 3 months. So we can type in the number 1, okay, and then we can use our arrow keys to move away. Get that? Or you could use the drop down box should you want with your mouse. It is probably easier just to type in the number and then using the arrow keys, which are directly below the right hand shift button, move to where you want to go next, okay, rather than use the mouse, which can be really time consuming and a pain. If you make a mistake, you simply click on there and you delete by using the back button or the delete key. Alright, so that should be quite straightforward. Now, around definitions, please print this out. It's set up to print it out and keep looking at it, because you might assume, say for example, when we go to hospital, the person never goes to hospital, but the question isn't about that specifically. It's to visit a hospital either as a patient or as a visitor. So they might visit their aunt, their neighbour, their colleague, whoever. Okay, so if you know that they've never visited the hospital, in your knowledge of them over the last 5 years or so, by all means press never. But if they do, but infrequently, then choose less than every 3 months. So try to be as accurate as possible here. Okay, rolling back up again, we've got here general health. The last well person's annual general health check, that's about the well person's checkup. So that's the thing that every person with a learning disability is entitled to, and that may or may not take place in the house or at the surgery. It doesn't matter where, as long as it's taken place, and that's an actual physical check by a medical professional. That might be a nurse practitioner, or it might be a GP, but it has to be somebody who's actually physically come and like supported the person and checked their well-being, not just like talk to a staff member from a distance. Okay, this next question, strategic plan. So you're going to be talking there about how many people who are unpaid are involved in the person's life. So for example, they might go to church and might have 4 or 5 people at church who are actively engaged in supporting them. They might be volunteers who come and pick them up and take them once a week, or a club or an event or a drama group, a chicken shack type thing, where people are like actively engaged in the community. So that's the types of people you need to be like adding up here. And lastly on this side, I've added in for this year and for the foreseeable future a 6 monthly check on the eating and drinking checklist, because that's part of SeeAbility's mandatory 6 monthly check. So we want to know whether or not the person has or has not had that check. Put a 1 for yes, and if it isn't a yes, go across and put a 1 for no. And if you discover, oh dear, I have put down as a no, diary as soon as possible to do that check. Okay, so that should be all straightforward, I hope. So then we've got the STOMP stuff. Now bits of this has changed since last time to hopefully make it simpler. So the first question, is the person prescribed psychotropic medicine? Look at the SeeAbility policies that I've just shown you. Look at what is a psychotropic medicine. For the purposes of STOMP, you are recording here medicine which is prescribed to change a person's behaviour, not to address a biological condition. So for example, if a person has a diagnosis of epilepsy and they're taking carbamazepam because it controls their epilepsy, and that's the reason why they're on it, you wouldn't be reporting it here. If they don't have a diagnosis of epilepsy and they're on carbamazepam, in order to modify their behaviour, that would then categorise as a psychotropic medication. It's there to modify someone's behaviour. Okay. Then you put down how many that person is on. However, if you report in question 1, no, they are not on a psychotropic medicine, you can leave the rest blank and go directly to question 9. Okay? Is there a positive support plan in place? Okay, so assuming you report yes, you're going to be filling in questions 2 through to 8. So the number of psychotropic medicines the person's on. Don't double count. If the person has, say, a daily dose of risperidone and then has PRN risperidone, it should be counted as 1. Okay, it's 1 medicine, it's 1 type of medicine. There should be a written psychotropic medicines reduction plan in place. If you've read the STOMP guidance that was sent out last September, you should have followed the pathway. There's a booklet that's completely set up specifically for this, and that should be in place. If there isn't, tick no and then go ahead and start working on that. Question 4 has been removed. So question 5, for all people taking antipsychotic medicine, how long ago was the last multidisciplinary review? So more than 6 months ago or less than 6 months ago. Okay? And was the person meaningfully involved in this? So it's either yes, no, or no because they lack capacity. And was the person given an option where capacity was lacking to have a representative? So it may be that that hasn't happened. Okay? What's the outcome from the review? So I've added in no review. I'm hoping no one's going to actually tick that, because hopefully there will have been reviews, because this is a clear industry standard process now. Then we come to positive behaviour support plans. Is there one in place for the person? Okay, yes or no? How do you monitor that support teams are applying this positive behaviour support plan? So the answers are, there isn't a positive support plan in place. Practice observations, which will mean you, the manager, or your deputy, or the senior support workers are directly observing that what's written in the plan is actually taking place in practice. Office-based talking supervision, which basically means you're talking about it but not seeing it's being done. Or there might not even be a monitoring system in place. And lastly, when was the positive behaviour plan last reviewed, i.e. with an NHS specialist or SeeAbility specialist support team member? And that's the range you've got. So 0 to 12, 12 to 24 months, longer than 24 months, or no PBS plan. Okay, it's fine. If there's no PBS plan, there might not need to be one, and that's fine. Now, you're completing one of these per person, and ideally you're going to be taking this from records. Now, since we've started this procedure, we've noticed that the people don't really know how often people are doing anything. So since Anna's been coming around and doing her baseline study work, she's been introducing you to the active support tracker, and you'll notice that much of this is collected on the active support tracker. And if you're not already using that as part of your daily records, you should seriously consider starting, because it's a very easy way for people that we employ to monitor, as long as they're doing it right there after the event's taken place, to keep a really accurate record of how often people are doing stuff. And then at the end of every shift, they've got a record that will help them write about how things went, what went well, what didn't go so well. So they don't have to write down how many cups of tea the person made, but they could comment how well the person made the tea, for example. Okay, so assuming now that everything here is complete for person 1, we're going to go on to person 2, and you're going to put in the person's code. So I'm sorry about that, I keep going to my hot corner. So let's say we're going into BSS 1_002. That's the new next person's code number. So we fill the whole thing in again, remember you can increase the size of the text by clicking here. Okay, so you should be able to get a much larger view or much smaller view. Okay, oh, something I didn't tell you was when you're filling out the GCPLA, for example, when you're rolling up, you're going to lose this frequency line. So the thing to do is roll to the top like that, and then go to the view here and go to split. Okay, and when you split, this pale line appears. And if you just roll up there, grab and drag up, now you've got two panes. So you can fill in about the doctor, the dentist, and as you're rolling up, that top line stays still, so that will help you fill it out accurately. Okay, and the same that side. So I would strongly advise you to fill out the GCPLA all in one go and then move on to the STOMP. To get rid of the split, just go up to view and click split again, and it goes away. Right, so let's say that you've completed all of your people, you've got like 20 or so of them. Now you're going to go to totals. This is really important you do this. Now every line that requires an absolute response from everybody has got a green totals. What you need to do is look across here and see, does this total in the green box add up to the amount of people in your service? Okay? Doesn't matter if they're independent or not. If you're providing a service, you'll be reporting the age range, the gender, the visual impairment, and the number of hours. That should all say the same. Psychotropic medication, it should all say the same number. So let's say there's 11 people in the service. You want to be checking there's 11 there and 11 there, and as you roll down, eating and drinking checklist, you want to be seeing 11 here, and all of the things about positive behaviour support plan that we're checking, we want to see that you've reported about 11 people there. Now, the same is going to be for all of these Guernsey, GCPLA stuff. So if you're reporting a person as unknown as independent, they're still going to count on the sheets. So we want to see 11 all the way down here. If you're reporting a person as, let's say, unknown as independent, I need you to say that all the way down, because no matter what, if a person you know is like perfectly capable of looking at books and magazines, for example, but you're not there supporting them to do it, they're independent. So we're going to stop skewing the figures, we're going to come out and make sure that they're all down as unknown as independent. Okay, so I'm going to miss that exercise aerobic class, and I'm going to now go to totals and show you that all the information I've put down has totaled here, and I'm looking down, oh, and I find, oh no, look, that should add up to 1. Exercise and aerobics class has got nothing in it. There must be something wrong with the data I've put in. So I go back and I find what the problem is. Oh, I've forgotten to put it in. I put in the 1 there, and now I can go back to my totals and everything is as it ought to be. Okay, hope that makes sense. So you're just, if you fill these in, if you fill all of these tabs in correctly, however many people you've got, you will find that the totals all add up to the people that you're reporting, the total number of people you're reporting on. Okay, so when you've done all of that, I need you to go into your completion sheet and put in the date that you completed it and the comments. Any comments. You don't need to put the comments in, it's completely voluntary. Okay, so here, let me just open it up again. Let Bear with me. So here you'll find the tracking sheet at the bottom, okay, which you'll need to fill in, and also you'll find frequently asked questions, okay. Really important you read these because these have come up time and time again. If people have read them, they would have got the questions answered. Okay, so you've got your tracking sheet at the bottom, your frequently asked questions, and there's also going to be a guide that's going to come out with this, which is in the September 2018 file. Okay, all right then, I hope that makes sense. I hope this has been useful. Okay.